That should do it. Hey guys, I'm Pascal from Orange Pixel. Today is Tuesday, it's the 3rd of December, and Space Grunts 2 launches on the App Store, which is a bit of a nervous day for me. I don't know really why, but every time I launch a game, it's a nervous thing. And my last game didn't do very well. I'll talk about that next week. So this game needs to do good, or at least a lot better than the last game. And the App Store is still one of my biggest markets, so it's an important day. And I think I'm ready. I wrote the press release and I'm sending it out right now as I'm sitting here. Basically, the computer does everything. Everything is ready, everything is set up, and all I can do is wait and hope that people play the game, check it out, and that's it. So for today, we're gonna do a little Q&A because I had a bunch of questions left over from 2 weeks ago, the 100th episode, 15 years of Orange Pixel, a bunch of questions left over. So he and we're gonna answer the questions today after the intro. Questions. Let me just see if we can make anything out of this. I just wrote them all down in a list. So your question should be in here if I didn't answer it 2 weeks ago. Let me see if I got some answers for you. First question, Julian Villegas on Twitter. What would you do again, do differently, not do if you were starting today? I don't know. It's always been hard to get into game development, even though people think it's a lot harder now because there are more games. It's always been hard because back when I started, there were less games, but there was also a much smaller market. So both these things have grown over these years. And I was pretty pleased with how I was starting out with a lot of games, having a game a month or something like that. Much smaller games. That's what I mentioned last week or the week before. I want to go back to doing faster game cycles, shorter development cycles, and smaller games somewhat. You can always extend those games or make them bigger if there is a market for it. But I want to have got back to what I did at the start, make smaller games and release them a lot. And if I would start today, I would do the same. Create small games and release a lot of them. And don't release your first couple of hobby games or test games, whatever. I released my first commercial game in 2004, but I think I made my first actual computer game maybe 15 years before that, if not more. So don't release everything you create. Make sure that what you create is a completely polished commercial game. Just keep it in scope. Don't create the biggest game you can make, because you can always add stuff to a game or you can build on an existing game. Just don't do it on your first couple of tries. No budget games. What are the development difference between games and other software? Could you as a senior game dev change easily from games industry to other industries? I've always said that I think game developers and game code is harder than normal software, because as a game developer you often need to know a lot more various stuff than you do as a software developer, because game development needs to be optimized, although a lot of game developers these days don't really do that, and engines like Unity and GameMaker make it very easy to quickly create a game even though you don't know how to optimize stuff. But if you're really digging into game code and not using Unity or GameMaker, but really creating your own code, I think you should be able to become a software developer after that outside of games pretty easily. Glaykond, how did you get started with coding, art and music? I don't do my own music because I did a couple of tunes, but I'm not good at music. And as for coding and art, I was always into art and drawing, sketching before I even had my first computer. So I was already accustomed to creating stuff and drawing stuff. And coding really just evolved from that, because I wanted my art to come alive and be inside a game and have a player be able to run around my worlds. So I learned coding, and I'm not sure how. I think I learned it from books and things back in the day, and just trying a lot and learning as you go. Nacho Beard, not asking. Have you achieved financial stability? Did you have to give up on other life plans to achieve your current level of success? No, I haven't given up on any life plans. I think I'm much happier and at a better place because I'm doing the thing I love and want to do than if I hadn't done this. So in that sense, I'm probably much happier now than I would be if I didn't become a game developer. And as for financial stability, so far, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, the last 6-7 years we've been living off my income as a game developer, and it allowed my wife to open up a store and see if she can make that work. So it's been good. Grey Aliens on Twitter: how do you motivate yourself to keep going? I don't know. I just love what I'm doing. I love creating games. I love working on games, building games, and that's just my motivation. I love what I do, and if I wouldn't love what I do or love to create the type of games I made, I don't know, I probably need to do something else. On Facebook we have Naeem Parazza: how have you able to manage with the studio and everything that happens as an indie? You learn as you go, basically. I wasn't a businessman or anything, so I just had to learn it, and the best lesson I can give anybody about business is just be bold and brave and just do it. Kyle Griffith: how do you go about choosing music composers for your games? The last 6, 7, 8 years I've been working with Gavin Harrison, and he does all the music for my games, so I haven't really been needing anybody else. I do get a lot of email from other composers, so mostly they just find me and mail me and see if they can create music for my games, and usually I have to disappoint them and tell them Gavin is already working on something. So Lucas Karuch, I don't know. What was the toughest moment related to game development during the last 15 years for you? I don't really know. They're not really... it's always... Every time I have to release a game is a pretty tough moment, and it doesn't really change in all those years, because creating games is awesome. I love it. But having to release the last couple of days, working towards today as a release day, I haven't been a happy chappy. It's just not my thing. I don't like to do all the stuff around releasing a game, even though it's important. You have no control over it. You can't tell people to try your game and buy it and download it. You just have to hope it works out, and you can do as much as you can by social media and sending out emails. But other than that, I have no control over it, so that's probably still the worst thing for me as a game developer. Nikki, leave the camera alone. Come. Hey, there you are. Alright, so Gar Sharma, your favorite game, PC and Android. I don't play games on my Mac. I have a Mac, and gaming on a Mac isn't really good, and my Mac will overheat probably. So I don't really play games on PC, and on Android I also, to be honest, don't play a lot of games anymore. If I play games, it's either on the Switch or the PlayStation 4, because that really takes me out of my phone and my computer, which are mostly for me work. If I have my phone, it's probably for work, and if I'm behind my computer, it's usually for work. So if I play games, it's on the PlayStation or something that's connected to the TV. Edward Albert, having worked for so long on your own, you never thought about working with a bunch of collaborators in a small office on a daily basis, still as an indie dev? No, I've never had that urge to create or turn this into a company with other people. There's a lot of responsibility there, and a lot of it's just extremely scary. I don't think I'm that kind of businessman, having employees work for me or just partners to work with. I prefer doing the things at my own speed, my own way, and just be the only one who can suffer from it, so to speak. So no, I never really wanted to start a company, although as I grow older now, I wish I did, because it would have been a lot easier for me to grow older and still have a company, while I would work little less here and there. So it's I wouldn't have done it, but it would have been maybe fun if I did. Is that a good answer? That's a weird answer, but I hope you get it. Alright, moving on, and very quickly. Mansoor Ahmad, did you lack at designing things? If yes, then what were your next steps related to it? Yeah, I think at some point I was creating the same type of games over and over, so the design on those games wasn't really shocking or interesting. The biggest problem there was that I just don't have a lot of time to game or try other games or play other games, so I wasn't learning a lot from other games. And at some point I just turned it, and every now and then I take a few weeks off, or days, more days than weeks, and just play a bunch of games and try to learn from what they are doing, and if I can incorporate that in my own type of games. So at some point, I think 4 years ago, I started making the change to see what I could learn and do better in my own game design, and just step a little bit outside my own comfort zone. And it has paid off so far, and I think my games are a lot better, and I'm more capable of creating good games with multiple layers a lot faster than I could previously. On YouTube, Robar2, I have one question: from where do you get the inspiration for your games? How do you come up with ideas for games? And when you have an idea for a game, I think pretty much everybody has an idea for a game, or if you sit down for just a couple of minutes, you probably can come up with a game idea. And especially if you're in the game world as a gamer or as a game developer, you see a lot of other games and they all give inspiration and ideas. So coming up with game ideas, and that's the easy part probably. Chaos Interactive, the last question for today: what have been the best effective way to grow up your business? Releasing games. Really, honestly, that's the basic of how to grow yourself as a game developer or company. Create games, finish them, polish them, release them, and do it all over again. So that's the best effective way to grow your business, I think. That's at least in my opinion. Right, that's it for these questions. I had big help from my managers. These and that one and... cats. That's it for this week. And next week, I'll be talking about Gunslug Rogue Tactics. I'm gonna try to not make it a depressive video because the game did extremely, terribly crappy. I just hope Spacegruns does a lot better in the week leading to that video, because else it's gonna be depressive videos. See you next week. Bye! There are now people with very orangey outfits walking around my house. This is not normal. It's not that everybody here wears orange. It's just that some people apparently do. Anyway.